First of all, here is the TLDR version of this video if you don't want to watch the entire thing. Intensity means how much power you have to put out to do something, while volume is how often you do something. For the best results, you should vary between the two, but you shouldn't go too high on volume, because if the volume is too high, then you are putting out too little intensity and that won't induce muscle growth. And now for the long version. First of all, what is intensity? Intensity simply means how much power you have to use to do something, and there is an upper limit to the intensity you can put out, which is 100%, and in bodybuilding that is the 1 rep max, meaning you do so much weight that you can only do 1 repetition of an exercise and then you are totally spent. While intensity has this upper limit, the 1 rep max, where you reach 100% intensity, volume on the other side can go on just about endlessly. If the intensity gets lower, the volume gets higher, and at some point the intensity will be so low that you can do very many repetitions of an exercise, but the intensity is too low to induce any muscle growth. As a practical example for this, have a look at this baby here, which currently weighs 22.5 kilograms or about 50 pounds. And if I really concentrate, I can probably do 1 biceps curl with it, but after that probably have to sit down on my couch and apologize to my arm for what I just did to it. On the other hand, take this little blue dumbbell here, which I can curl for a very long time to come, reaching very high volumes and very little to no intensity at all. So what does all this practically mean for your workouts? And there are 3 tips I'd like to give you here. The first is intensity, of course, is good, but we can vary the amount of intensity we work with. At 1 to 3 reps of an exercise, you're working with very high intensity. At 5 to 8 reps with high intensity, and at 6 to 12 reps with medium intensity. If you always work with high to very high intensity, this takes its toll on your musculoskeletal system, but also your body gets used to doing this, and these intensities won't be that effective anymore. So while looking out for having enough intensity, vary the amount of intensity you work with, which keeps your body safer from injuries but also engaged. Number 2, make sure you are really working with the intensity you think you are working, because although we said under point number 1 that 1 to 5 reps means you are going with high to very high intensity, if you simply grab a weight and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you did 5 repetitions, but your intensity was still very low because you could still have done a very high volume. You don't always have to go to failure on each set, but make sure that your muscles really had to work with intensity for the rep range you were aiming at. Last but not least, number 3, and that is volume and intensity are not only what happens during one workout session, but during your entire workout schedule during the week between those rest periods. Let's say you do a 3-day split, Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, Saturday, Sunday off, and on Mondays you do your chest and your triceps, on Wednesdays your back and your biceps, and on Wednesdays your shoulders and your legs. On Mondays you may do push-ups, which of course train your chest, but if on Wednesdays you do pullovers, you of course are working your back, but the chest muscles are involved in pullovers as well. So when you look at the total volume, look at your entire schedule and check in how many exercises you are doing there a specific muscle is involved in. And if that number goes over 15 to 20 sets, then you are doing too much work for that one muscle. You are limiting its ability to recuperate, and while you are feeling you are still working that muscle with intensity, you in fact have lowered its ability to perform, and it isn't really working with the intensity you are thinking, because if it had enough rest, it could work with higher intensities. And that, of course, all in all, lowers this muscle's ability to grow. In summary, vary the amount of intensity you work with from time to time. Make sure you really are working with the intensity you think you are, and keep the complete picture in mind. And with that being said, as always, thank you for watching. Until next time, bye bye. Don't do that again. I tell ya, man. I already said I'm sorry. I'll fall off. Seriously, I will. Okay, I'm sorry. I won't do it again, alright? I mean it. You'll see.